So good morning. First really cold day of the year here. Today is morning practice, so we're Monday. We'll do a gentle practice to start the week. So find a comfortable way to sit. So if you need a wall to sit against, that's fine. If you want to sit on your knees or even on a chair, that's also fine. And for a moment, if it's okay for you to close your eyes, if your mind is too crazy, keep your eyes just half open and focus on a point on the floor and bring all your attention there so that your mind can get away from all the thoughts you have and come to that one focus before settling into the dark of your own, when you close your own eyes. And then just observing the breath for a moment. Just don't do anything special. Just landing on the floor, on your pillow, on your chair. Make sure you're comfortable with your legs. Otherwise, the rest of the body the attention will be taken to the legs or to the hips instead of finding a calm, seated position. And just observing your breath. So don't change anything, and you might observe that your breath becomes a little bit calmer. That the exhale maybe becomes a little bit longer. So don't go for it, just observe. If that's not the case, don't worry about it. And then taking a breath in consciously, feeling the spine taking a bit more space, and exhaling through the mouth very, very slowly. So we're going to take a count of 4 to inhale and a count of 5 to exhale. If you need to shorten both, please do. The exhale should be 1 count longer than the inhale. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a moment. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to do 5 rounds, 5 more rounds like this. Go at your own pace, count for yourself. And then slowly coming back to your natural breath. We're going to gently start to open the eyes. Keep your hands on your thighs, so however you seat it, we're going to start to make little circles with our upper body. So side, back. So try not to go too far so that you don't engage too many muscles. Just a very gentle, not too stiff in the spine, so your shoulders can move a little bit. And then at your head as well. And changing direction. Maybe this time with your head looking up and looking down, whatever feels comfortable. So we just want to feel our body here. And then coming back to center. Let's bring the hands to the side and then take a breath in, lift your arms up and exhale down. So not too many muscles working here. It's just a movement of the arms going up. No need to stretch out yet. And then bring the arms down. One more. Keeping connected with your breath. And then bring one hand on the floor. Inhale, lift the other arm and going over. And inhale back up, moving slowly, changing sides. So opening the sides of our upper body. Last time. And the next time we're going back to our first side and we're going to stay for 3 breaths. So inhaling, pressing that hip into the floor, reaching the fingertips a little bit further. Inhaling, exhaling. And then reaching towards the corner, making a half circle with your elevated arm. And then coming to the other side, you can follow with your head. And then coming back. Again, bring the hand to the side, over your head, and then down. Inhale, reaching the other arm up, hands on the floor, the other hand on the floor. 3 breaths here. And then do your half circle. So go gently. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If your breath is stopping, means you went a little bit too far for this morning. And then coming back. Arm over and up. Bring the hands in the back, so fingertips onto the floor, fingers pointing backwards. Take a breath in, roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Lift your chest to the sky. You can be looking at the ceiling or looking forward. So feeling the air in your chest here. One more breath. And then exhale, coming back to center, this time placing the hands in front. So if you're on a chair, place your hands onto your knees. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, press your hands down around your spine, bring your chin to the chest, shoulders move forward. One more breath. And then slowly coming back. Let's inhale, reach the arms up again. And then exhale, rotate towards the right. So left arm comes on your right thigh, right hand in the back. If you're on a chair, hold on to the back of the chair. A few breaths here, so don't push it to the max yet. Just warming up. With your next inhale, coming back to center, reaching up. Exhale to the other side for 3 breaths. And then with your next inhale, coming back to center, and exhale, bring the arms down. We're going to inhale, reach the right arm up. Bring your left hand on your right elbow. Bring your right hand onto your upper back and open up the armpits. Don't press into your head, so create a bit more space if need be. Just opening up the shoulders, opening up the chest. 3 breaths. And then reach the arms up and change sides. So left elbow bends, right hand on the left elbow, and 3 breaths. Open the elbows, open the arms, open the armpits. And then reaching the arms up, and exhale, bring the hands down. We're gonna stretch out our legs, so most probably you're gonna need to move a little bit with the legs. So come onto your seat. You can bring your hands to the back. Place your feet wider than your hips. So if they're as wide as your mat, that's fine. So we're gonna try to keep the spine straight, but it's not the first thing that we're looking for. So take a breath in and then exhale. Drop your knees towards the right. So the left knee will come behind the right heel and then coming back. So loosening a little bit in the hips and then coming back. So do this a few times. Maybe you're slowly walking forward like I am. So come back into position. So you don't want to sink into your shoulder, but you don't want to really pay too much attention to the straightness of the spine because we are moving also in our shoulders. You must have noticed. And then stay on one side. And this time press into your hands, open your chest a little bit more. So if your knees don't touch the floor, don't worry about it. It's the flexibility or the build into your hips. So let's go to the other side. So one side can be very different than the other. Press into your hands, lift your chest, and then come back. Gonna lengthen one leg, bring your hands under the right thigh, and then lift your foot and start to make circles with your ankle, one side, the other side, point and stretch a few times, and then bring your knee in and then press it out. So you can keep your hands behind your thigh. If you're not seated comfortably, take a blanket, sit on it, and then lengthen the leg towards the floor, change sides. So circles with your ankle, the other side, point and flex, and then stretch out and bring in, stretch out and bring in. And then both legs are straight. So keep a bend into your knees. We're waking up, so we don't want to force it too much. So there is a bend into the knees. Take a breath in this time. See if you can lengthen your spine. So make sure you're seated with the spine and the legs in a T. So if need be, sit on something. We're going to inhale. You can place your hands behind your thighs, almost at your knees. And then with a straight back going down. So you can see my knees are quite bent. And I just want to make sure that my spine is lengthening. So no sensations in the lower back. For the moment, no sensations in the legs. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, come back up. Bend your knees a little bit so they're not straight yet. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, gently coming down. So again, don't go all the way. We want to keep our spine straight. Maybe we start to feel something into our hamstrings, but no sensations in the lower back. And then coming back up. So if you have a strap, you can take the strap. If you don't have a strap, you're gonna hold on to your legs. So with the strap around your feet, again, this time the legs are straight unless you know that your hamstrings are super tight, and keep them bent gently. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Inhale, and then exhale, coming forward. So here we're starting to really feel the hamstrings, no sensations in the lower back. Lengthen your spine, even if that means that you have to come up a little bit, that's fine. Exhale, come forward. And then slowly coming back up. If you have a strap, take it off. Place your hands next to your hips and let's point one foot and then the other one. Like as if you were driving, pointing, just working those muscles in the front of your lower legs and your ankles. And then separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips and let's push the toes out. So that's an opening of the hips. See how far you can go. Some people will have their little toe all the way down to the floor. Some people have them really high. Again, it depends how your femur, the big bone of your leg, fits it into your hip socket. So how the hip socket is built. And then coming back and then do the reverse toes towards the center. If you have big feet, you might have to separate your feet a little bit more. But just be careful that you don't twist into your knees here. So it's really coming from your hips. And then coming back to center. We're going to turn onto all fours. So bring the knees underneath the hips, the wrist underneath the shoulders. And then to start, we're just going to move our hips. So let's inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly. So big curve in the lower back. Exhale, tailbone down, belly button up. So the rest of the upper body doesn't move. So it's not a full cat-cow yet. We just want to find that mobility in the hips, tucking and untucking the tail. So the connection with the pubic bone, how it comes to the belly as we tuck the tailbone, and then how it moves away from the belly. Exhale, tailbone down. We're going to add to the movement, press into your hands. One vertebra at a time is starting to round your spine. The last one's being in your neck, and then your chin comes to your chest. Let's stay here for 2 breaths. Press into your hands. Find a little bit more rounding. And then let's inhale. Lift the tailbone, drop the belly button. Unroll your spine. So curving 1 vertebra at a time. And to end up looking forward. So it's a very progressive move. Go for 4 more cycles of breath. Staying connected with your breath here. And once you're done, coming back to a neutral spine. The neck in line with the rest of your spine. We're going to look to the right, so keep the neck in line with the spine. Just turn your head towards the right. And then look down, and then turn your head towards the left. And then look down. Starting to make little circles with the hips. So press your hips to one side, to the back, to the other side, and to the front. So you're moving in front of your wrist. So if you have wrist issues, move your hands a little bit more forward. And then starting to loosen up in your upper body. So loosen your elbows, your shoulders, your head. Make your own choreography. So moving your spine, and then changing direction. Maybe you go a little bit deeper. Maybe you're reaching one side. It's really how you feel it in this moment. And then coming back to center. Bring the hands a little bit more to the front. The knees a little bit more to the back. The knees as wide as your hips. And then inhale, come into a plank onto your knees. So adjust your hands if you need to. Your core is getting engaged here, so don't sink into your lower back, not for the moment at least. Inhale, and then exhale, press into your hands, push your hips back, find length into your spine. Inhale long, again to the front. Exhale back. One more inhale. And then exhale back, and let's stay here, finding that length. So press your fingers into the floor. Roll the shoulders out to the side so that you feel that your upper back is really opening up. If it's comfortable, you can place your forehead on the floor But if there's too much of a bend in your neck, just keep it lifted for the moment. Inhale, press those fingers down, push the hips back, neutral spine. So make sure you don't sink anywhere into your spine. Sometimes we sink in between the shoulders, sometimes the lower back creates a little dip. So we really want to keep that length. The core is active, but not overactive. It's present, it's holding us. And then slowly coming up, and this time placing your forearms on the floor. Your elbows are as wide as your shoulders. And then we're gonna come into a plank like this, so a full plank, to just bring this time our hips down. So this time our lower back is curved. Untuck your toes, and then just press into your knees or your legs for a moment, and then see if you can roll the tailbone down a little bit more to create some length into your lower back. Roll the shoulders back, elbows are back, strong hold onto the floor with your forearms and your hands, and then inhale, reach your heart forward, your shoulders back. So creating space in the chest and in the spine. Our hips are heavy on the floor, so they're holding us back from gliding forward. You can look forward, Sphinx pose. So imagine you're in Egypt and you want to imitate the Sphinx. So every inhale, reach your heart a little bit more forward, roll the shoulders a little bit more back. Big opening in the chest here and big opening in the lower back. And then release. Tuck your toes and come into child's pose. So you can do a wide-legged child's pose, meaning knees as wide as your mat, big toes together, or the knees together, toes together, whatever you feel like now. Sit onto your heels or put a blanket between your knees if that's too low for you. And same thing for your head. If there's too much bend in the neck, place a block or a blanket or a book or your arms. And then let's rest here for 5 breaths. To enjoy this slow practice to start your Monday or end your day. Feel the air filling up your back ribs as you take a deep breath in. And exhale through the mouth. Let your body sink into the pose. And then slowly bring your hands to the front. Press yourself up. So hands at the front of the mat, knees a little bit in the back. Tuck your toes. Move your weight towards the front so your shoulders are above your wrists again. And then just lift your knees up. So just a little bit hovering above the floor. Spine is neutral. The core is active here. And then bring the knees down. And then we're going to gently move into our downward dog. So press into your hands. Press into your toes. Start to lift your hips up. Keep your knees bent. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, with the shoulders going far out, bring the head in between the arms. So remember the length into your spine we created when we were on our knees. It's the same thing here. So inhale, press into your hands. Exhale, push the hips back. My knees are still bent. I'm working on my upper body, finding that comfort somewhere, that balance. And then bring the knees down. And child's pose for 3 breaths. And then slowly reaching the hands forward again, moving into your downward dog. So find length into the spine and then start to walk your dog. So very slowly, maybe at the rhythm of your breath, keeping the length into the upper body. Stability there. Equal weight into your hands as you're walking. If you feel one leg needs a little bit more stretch, stay there a little bit longer. If you feel that your pubic bone is moving towards your belly button, then you know that you're going to need to keep your knees bent until your hamstrings are stretched out. So bend both your knees, lift your hips, and exhale, lengthen both your legs. So the intention is to touch the heels to the floor, but it's just an intention. So feel your body in this pose. As you inhale from your fingertips all the way up to your hips, find that length. And as you exhale, grounding from your hips all the way to your heels, to your toes. So imagine that line of energy every time you breathe in and out. And then slowly starting to walk the feet towards the hands. When you arrive there, bend your knees, drop your head, grab the opposite elbow, and just drop your head, drop your upper body down. So with every exhale, we want to release a little bit more into the hips. So your knees are bent, your belly can rest onto your thighs here if that's comfortable. And then release your hands. Bend your knees a little bit more. Place your hands onto your hips. First, lengthen out your spine, press into your feet, and very slowly come up with a straight back. When you're up and you feel dizzy, take the heel of the hand, place it in between your eyebrows. And then release and come into mountain pose. So mountain pose, imagine you're lying on the floor, but this time you're standing. So it's the same principle. We need to find some kind of relaxation in the body. The bones holding us up, the muscles just wrapping around, but only working very slightly the muscles. Staying connected with the breath. Long exhale. And then placing the hands onto the hips, and we're going to separate the feet. So quite a wide stance. Lower your hands to your hip crease. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Toes are pointing slightly in. So you don't want your toes to point out here. Take a breath in and then very gently come forward with a straight back. You can keep your hands on your thighs. We're still with a straight back here. So inhale, exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. If you're okay to drop your hands, keeping your spine straight, maybe you're on your fingertips, maybe you're on a block or even on a chair. Don't hesitate to use the props you need. We don't need to prove anything. We just need to feel good within our body. And then very slowly start to let go into your spine, your head rounding forwards. Dropping the head really heavy, maybe shaking your head out a few times. Yes and no. Taking advantage of the weight of our head to stretch out our neck. Releasing with every exhale. And then very slowly bending your knees, bring the hands back onto your hips. And coming up with a straight spine. Keeping the legs wide, we're going to turn the left toes forward. The right foot stays where it is. The only thing, you might want to walk your left foot out just a little bit. Bring your hips parallel with the long side of your mat, and then reach your arms out. From here, roll the shoulders back and feel the shoulder blades dropping down. And then very slowly start to bend your front knee. And then come back up, so lengthen your leg. Exhale, bend your front knee. If this is too much for your arms and your shoulders, keep your hands on your hips. So 2 more times. Keep on pressing in the back foot, so the back leg remains very strong. And then the next time, exhale, bend your front knee. Maybe you need to move that front foot a little bit further so that you can go a little bit deeper. We don't want to sink into the pose. We just want to find relaxation here. So we want to find strength into our legs, length into our arms and upper body, and then find some relaxation. Look at the front arm, turn the front palm up, and then reach up and stay here for 3 breaths. So opening the side of your body, you can look at your hand if you want to, otherwise just look to the side. Keeping that front knee bent. And then exhale, bend your left elbow, bring it on your left thigh, reach your right arm up and over for a long side stretch on your right side. And then reach your right arm up, start to lengthen your left leg, place your left hand somewhere on your leg, lengthen your upper body, and then press your right hip back and your left bum comes forward. So as if you're like replacing your hips parallel with the side of the mat. And then you can gently start to go backwards. So it's not the shoulder that just goes, or the arm that just goes back. It's the whole chest rotating to the back, keeping the length in the upper body. And then if you want, you can let go from your left leg. You can look up. You can keep yourself supported there. Don't lean into your left shoulder, left arm. And then very slowly coming back up. Exhale, bring the arms down, bring the left foot back to the front and turn the right foot out. So you can bring the arms to the side or just keep your hands on your hips, whatever is good for you. If your arms are out, make sure they're like parked. You know, roll the shoulders back, bring the shoulder blades down, and then they're kind of feeling supported. And then start to bend that front knee, press the outside of the back foot into the floor, and then lengthen again. So make that a gentle movement, very controlled here. And then the next time you bend, let's stay there. Warrior 2, look at your right hand. Feeling the legs holding you up, so the energy is moving up to your center, creating length, and you reach out with your hands. Turn the front palm, the right palm up, and then open up for Warrior 4. Open up the side body for 3 breaths. Again, you can look up, you can look to the side, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And then with your next exhale, Warrior 2, bending the elbow and then reaching over with your left hand. So long side stretch, long body, strong legs. And then reach your left arm up. Start to lengthen your right leg, right hand somewhere on your right leg. And then again, we want to reposition those hips. So sometimes they're just stuck. So the intention is to bring that right bum under and forward and the left hip back. So if you do this against the wall, you might feel the sensations a little bit better. And then start to rotate, but from deep down in your spine, rotating back. So your arm is just following, it sits in the socket, and then maybe you can let go of your right hand. You can look up or not. Finding that length into the upper body. Keep on breathing. And then slowly coming back. Bring the hands onto the hips and the foot comes back to the front. Heel to your feet, but don't go all the way as wide as your hips. So we're staying a little bit wider, and this time turn the toes out. So we're gonna move back to the floor. Bring your arms to the front and then roll the shoulders back, or if you prefer, keep your hands onto your hips. Inhale and start to bend your knees. So your knees are going towards your toes. They're going to pass them and come into your squat. So adjust your squat if you need to, and then move from one side to the other. So your hands are on the floor, lifting one heel, the other heel, moving your hips. Be very careful if you have knee problems here to stay very much aligned. So it's really with the feet that we're going from one side to the other. And then coming back to center, sit a little bit lower if you can. Open your arms in between your legs. So your arms are going to press into your knees and then bring your palms together. See if you can put a little bit more pressure on the inner legs. Don't push too much on the knee itself. And then finding this balance. If you're falling backwards, first of all, you can laugh. It's funny. And otherwise, keep your hands onto the floor. So eventually you're gonna be very comfortable here. In the beginning, it's a lot of stretches for the hips and the legs, maybe the ankles as well. 2 more breaths here. And then release. Let's slowly come into a seated position. So keep the knees bent. Let's bring the feet as close as possible to your bum. So the feet are together, the knees are together. We're going to place our hands underneath our kneecaps. So not in the back, but on the front of our legs. Roll the shoulders back and then press your feet down and see if you can pull your elbows back and lift your chest up, holding on to those legs as much as possible. So if you would let go of your hands now, you would fall back. So finding a little bit of working into your upper back. Your rhomboids are bringing the shoulder blades together. Your elbows are working. Your chest is opening. Lots of work here. But keep on breathing. And then with your next exhale, slowly start to release, rounding the spine. Bring the chin towards the chest so you can move away a little bit. Your head comes forward, still holding onto those legs. The weight is going to drop back, but you still have your feet on the floor. We're doing a big opening in the upper spine. And then very slowly bring the hands behind the thighs. Maybe bring the feet a little bit more forward and roll yourself down onto your back. So bring the knees into the chest. And again, make gentle rolls with your hips. So taking care of those hips that hold us all the time. And then changing direction. And then placing the left foot on the floor. As you do this, observe what happens with your lower back. So maybe your lower back came back into a neutral position. If the lower back is still pressing down, consciously roll the hips a little bit more forward. Bring the right ankle over the left leg. So opening up, gently pressing with your right hand into your right thigh. So your left foot is still on the floor. First step is to grab the right foot with your left hand. Place your left foot back on the floor. So finding that position for opening of the hip and maybe bringing the knee and the foot closer to your chest. So this time your lower back is gonna press into the floor. And then lift your left leg and you can gently press into your right ankle to open the hip. And then slowly release. Change sides, so right foot is down, left comes in, open the hip, place your left ankle on your left thigh, so very close to the knee, and then grab your left foot, your left knee, and bring it in. So find that position in the hip joint where you can find the most movement so that you can bring that leg a little bit closer. And then bringing the right leg against the left foot or left ankle and press it a little bit. So creating a little bit of weight, lower back is on the floor, don't lift too much in your hips. So your sacrum, if you can, keep it on the floor. And then slowly lower your foot, the other foot. Separate your feet as wide as your mat. Open your arms and gently rock your legs, your knees from side to side. And then coming back to center, feet are as wide as the hips, knees as well. And bring the feet a little bit closer without widening them. Bring the arms alongside the body. You can bend in the elbows and have the palms face each other. And then inhale, lift the hips up. And exhale, come down, just hovering. Inhale up. Exhale down, hovering. Inhale up. And exhale down, hovering. Release your arms and bring them 45 degrees, so halfway between your hips and your shoulders. And we're gonna go into our final Shavasana. So lengthen out your legs. If you want to, you can always place a blanket or a bolster underneath your knees. It's very relaxing for the lower back. So just position it correctly. Don't make any brusque moves. This was a very gentle practice. And then let your feet flop out. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. If you feel your chin is lifting a little bit too much to the sky, place your hands behind your head and pull the skin of your skull away from you. And then from here, maybe you'll feel a bit constricted in the neck. So adjust, but don't have that big bend in your neck. Let's stay here for a few minutes. As the start or the end of our day. So feel free to stay as long as you need. If this is your evening practice, I might suggest that you put your legs on a chair, on a sofa, or up the wall, just to calm down the body and the nervous system even more. Of course, you can do that in the morning as well. And slowly starting to move the toes and the fingers. Maybe gently rolling the head from side to side. And then taking a breath in, and as you exhale, bring the knees into the chest. If you need that stretch as you inhale, reach your arms up. Gently roll, give yourself a little massage, a little self-care. And then roll over onto your right side if that's comfortable. Staying here for a few more breaths. And then slowly coming up into that comfortable seated position. See if you can find the same position as when we started. Observe how your body feels, your mind and your breath, and your heart. Gently tuck your chin, bring your hands in front of your heart in either way you want. Thank you for taking care of yourself, for sharing your practice. I wish you lots of love, lots of peace. Namaste.